Hi, and welcome to the first of a series of bite-sized interviews with internationally renowned, world-famous medium, healer, and New York Times bestselling author, Rosemary Altea. So welcome, Rosemary, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview.
Thank you. My head is getting bigger by the moment.
Well, I've got things to mention, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
You have quite a CV, if mediums have CVs. You've appeared on the Larry King Show, CNN. You were a regular guest on the Lisa Gibbons Show, Roseanne, Oprah Winfrey. You can't really get much bigger than that, to be perfectly honest. Unsolved Mysteries, which I believe was the highest rated show by Robert Stack in the entire series.
Still is, I think.
It still is. And Maurizio Costanza in Italy, which is the longest running Italian TV show. And I believe that you also gave a message live on air.
I did. I gave the first time I was on the Maurizio Costanza show, he wasn't really not sure what he was doing with having somebody like me on. But I won't go into details, but I did frighten him to the point where he ran across the stage, standing with his microphone, shaking and shaking, because I'd seen his father standing next to him and told him so, and it completely threw him. He wasn't expecting it at all. And the audience, who were beginning to get irritated with me because I was not answering his questions, and had actually started to hiss and boo a little bit, boy, it went totally, when they saw his response, totally silent. And from then on, you know, I was sort of beloved by the Italian people, I think it's fair to say.
I believe you also had, you were acknowledged by the Pope.
Not acknowledged by the Pope, but the Pope did put something in the newspaper about, you know, these people who come and do this and so on. And the Vatican did actually send a wonderful, I don't know what he was actually, I'm going to say a priest, but he was straight from the Vatican, and he was sort of going to investigate me. And they did a television show, and everyone expected that it would be really controversial. We ended up agreeing and loving each other so much, because he just didn't realize that my point of view did really not clash with the church's point of view at all, in so many ways. And so we had a great time.
When you're not doing private consultations or teaching your students, you're also, as we said previously, a New York Times bestselling author. You have many books under your belt. We have The Eagle and the Rose, Proud Spirit, You Own the Power, Soul Signs, A Matter of Life and Death, Angels on Training,
A
Walk in the Gods, and if that wasn't enough, also a cookbook. Where do you find the time?
I'm not really sure, actually. Well, I didn't do that all at once, you know. I didn't write them all at one time. It took me a few years to do this. And of course, I'm an old lady now, doing this for a few years. But now we've taken on this new adventure. I like to think of it as a new adventure, which is our webinar series. And I know you want to talk about that a little bit.
Thank you. I think it's really great that in response to COVID and the fact that there are many people feeling isolated or in lockdown, that you're reaching out to people using this new technology, and I think it's marvelous. What can people expect from your webinar series?
Well, they're going to learn all about what mediumship is, really, because, you know, there's so many people with so many different ideas, and there are so many mediums who will tell you. In fact, you know, somebody told me yesterday that a medium she went to believed that all children in the spirit world didn't have bodies. And I'm thinking, gosh, you know, I don't think that's true at all. There are many different conflicting ideas of mediumship, so I'm going to talk a bit about that. And I want to help people to understand that they don't need somebody like me to connect with their loved ones in the spirit world. They can, with a little help, a few little tips and some exercises, they can actually learn to do this for themselves. And so, you know, so it's going to be a whole a couple of hours of me explaining how this works, explaining how using energy we can do all these things, and then of course, as always, I like to have a question and answer. People love the question and answer thing, so we're going to do that, and maybe even 1 or 2 messages will come out of that too.
Will Grey Eagle be present?
Oh, always. I know everybody wants to know about my spirit guide, and even now he's standing right by my side. He's let's say he's ever present, even in the kitchen when I'm doing my cooking. Wherever I am, he's ever present and always on hand, and especially when we're doing something like the webinars or when I'm doing my teaching and so on, I rely on him very much so, because when people ask me questions or if they need to connect with someone in the spirit world, I'm you know, hey, I'm just one little person. I can't do this all. I am simply the let's say, you know, that conduit between the spirit world and people who are on this side, and I need someone to help me to make sure that I don't make mistakes, that I listen clearly, and that I say what I'm supposed to say. And Grey Eagle is that person for me. He guides me, he steers me, and helps me to do such a great job so many times, and I couldn't do it without him.
I think it's great that you're teaching people how to be more sensitive to the spirit world, to understand those messages. But I also believe that you're doing one of your workshops on angels, and that's for Christmas.
Well, we're doing a series. Oh, you shouldn't have mentioned that. Oh, well, now you did. We're doing a series of webinars, and our next one, which is going to be in November, we're going to do a series on healing rifts, healing families. What do we do? And also healing, spiritual healing, laying on of hands. So we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, in December, it's Christmas, and I'm a big Christmas fan. We have to have our angels at Christmas, and I think we should acknowledge them all year round, but especially at Christmas. So we're going to have an angel session, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Of course, it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We may even have 1 or 2 angels who come and visit us during that session. It happened a few weeks ago, surprisingly, on one of my Thursday morning sessions, and 1 minute I was talking to everybody, the next minute I looked and there they were. Several angels just come to say hello. So I'm hoping they'll come to say hello in December too.
When's the first seminar or webinar? Right.
The first webinar is on the 24th of October. So that's in about 10 days time. Tickets are $45. We're going to put a link to this so people can find us, and it is with Eventbrite. That's EVENTBRITE, eventbrite.com, and you can just click on there and go put my name in, and it'll take you straight to me. And we're sort of, what is it? It's a Saturday in the morning, and it's at least a 2 hours. If we get going and the questions get really good, or the messages from the spirit world get really good, well, I mean, if we go over a little bit, does it matter really? We're just going to have fun and see what we can do and how we can do it as best as we can.
How many spaces are available on each course?
Well, we don't like to do huge courses. So we try and limit it sort of anywhere between 50, 60. When we're doing this through Zoom, and they allow you 100 people. But when you get 100 people, if you're not very careful, it gets so diluted. So we try to keep the audience is small. And this one is our first one. This one on October the 24th is our first one. It's our pilot show. So that's going to be a little bit smaller because we got to get a feel for it. We've had a few practices. I'm no good with the technology, so I have to rely on other people. But I do enjoy it, and I do love, sort of putting myself out there and being available for people to ask their questions and to connect with the spirit world in one way or another.
It sounds wonderful. I wish you every success. So. Can we just reiterate, it was the 24th
of October, which is in about 10 days' time. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite. Let me think. 10 in the morning until 11 until 12, sorry, going over a little bit, possibly, we'll see, I'm not promising anything. And is there anything else to say? Oh yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that would be, what would that be, 3 p.m. British time? Yeah, so we're excited, we're looking forward to it.
Are there any age restrictions?
No, but I do like, if people are sort of younger, come with a parent, would you please? If somebody wants to come and they want to include their child, we won't charge for kids, by the way. So if you're buying a ticket and you want your kids to sit in, that's okay, as long as you, the parent, are taking care and making sure that they're okay with it.
Thank you very much. It's been really great talking to you, from someone who your peers refer to as an icon.
Oh.
An accolade which is truly well deserved. So thank you very much.
Oh, Violet, thank you so much for doing this. And I'll see you again soon, because we're going to be doing this again and again and again and again, right?
Yeah, great. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.